Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole Sellars, and welcome to Driven by Detours, where we share inspiring stories by inspiring people. I am so excited to have with me today Emily Foley. She's a freelance journalist. She's also a guest poster for many publications, including Allure, Glamour, O, Marie Claire, and In Style. I read all of those, so I'm excited to speak with her. She's also been on a ton of TV segments, also satellite media tours. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. Emily, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you are just such a busy woman. How are you keeping up with all this during the pandemic? How are you finding work? What's been your experience the past few months now?
Well, I could say through everything, my career has never been graceful. Everyone always says, "Oh, you have everything so put together." It's just put together on camera, and it's take it a day at a time and figure it out. I don't think even now that I necessarily have pandemic life figured out. I kind of thought, okay, this is the route I need to go, and then things shift a little bit. So with everything, where you are self-employed, you're an entrepreneur, you have your own brand, you work for yourself, it's just about flexibility and knowing that you need to have a plan, but you also really need to be able to pivot from said plan.
Well, that's the thing too. And having a schedule is so important. I know having a flexible schedule is great, but you need to have a rigid schedule, especially if you've got kids and other responsibilities. How do you keep it all together? Are you like a planner? Do you have like
Oh my
an
goodness.
actual planner?
I'm not flexible at all,
Yeah.
which is, it's funny to say, okay, you have to be really flexible, but also I'm not. I mean, we are very strict. We eat breakfast at the same time every day. We eat lunch at the same time every day. My kids go to bed at the same time every day. And if I have those basic things in place, then I can know, even if something goes awry, these are the hours typically that I would be working. These are the things I know I can count on. I know that my kids are going to be eating a sandwich at this time. And so that's a great time where I might not be able to do something on camera, but I can certainly write some emails
Right.
during that time. So knowing what to expect in the unexpected is vital. And a lot of people make fun of me for not being spontaneous and fun, but I would not be as successful as I am today without having a plan, sticking to a plan, and loving a plan.
I totally agree. And especially when you're juggling so many different jobs and wearing so many hats, you have to be organized. Take me back to where it all started. You started out, I mean, you're still a journalist, but you started out in journalism, but you kind of segued into the blogger and influencer space. How did you do that?
I like to call my career a happy accident with the foundation of a lot of hard work. I did not do any of it in the normal way. I went to Georgia State University. I was a public speaking major. I actually thought I wanted to go the political route and be a speechwriter. I wrote a lot of political columns for the newspaper there, but really thought I was on track to have a political career. Was very involved in politics in college to the point that I realized I could not handle that lifestyle. And it didn't matter what side of the fence you were on. It was a lot of really corrupt people.
Yeah.
And I decided I needed to get out as soon as possible. But what that meant is I graduated from college without a clear-cut idea of what I was going to do. So I hadn't had any internships at magazines. I didn't have any connections at publications. I literally just had clips from the college newspaper. But I realized, okay, I want to be a freelance writer. I don't want to commit to one beat. I want to be able to do a little bit of everything lifestyle. So I literally, with my college clips in hand, looked up every publication in and around Atlanta and Georgia, which was a lot more back then. That was 2005. And said, hey, these are my clips from college. What can I do? And I finally found one editor that said, I will give, this person with no experience a job and a leg up here. And I just started from there and just started building. And then TV kind of happened as organically. I was a very established writer by that point. I had had some editorial positions here in Atlanta, and I had a friend who had a friend that was a producer at a lifestyle TV show. And she just said, we're looking for more lifestyle content. Can you just do what you do on a magazine page on screen? Is that possible? Well, I had a degree in public speaking. I have never been shy in front of crowds. I did theater in college and high school. And I thought, sure, let's fake it till we make it. Another huge part of my career is I've never said no to anything. even if I don't know how to do it, you say yes, and then you figure it out. You
Yes,
say yes, and then
absolutely.
you do it.
100%. Yeah,
Right.
without a doubt. Yep.
So, I mean, I watched a bunch of Today Show and I watched lifestyle segments, and then I just tried to emulate that. And that was, my daughter was 2, so that was 2012. And once again, that just built from there. And then I was able to establish a career with social media. The same thing, this thing called Instagram came out, people were doing it. I thought, okay, maybe it's valuable to have a presence there. It seemed like it was mostly bloggers, which, while I have a blog, I'm not a true blogger. I don't do it full time. It's very much the ignored stepchild of my career.
Right. Some things have to fall by the wayside. I
They
understand.
do, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But when I had my second child, I was up all hours of the night nursing him. And I realized, you know what, this would be a really good time to figure out Instagram. I can spend time on it. I can engage with people. I can do this. So at that point, I doubled my following just from being on it all the time.
Just being consistent. Right. Right. And I love, yeah. And I love your story because it totally resonates with me because I have been there, done that. And a lot of my clients feel the same way. They have this drive to just find different opportunities for themselves. And I think that in order to succeed, there is no roadmap and there is no clear-cut plan or strategy. You have to be able to pivot, like you said, and find opportunities where you didn't think they were before. You have to find the names of people. You have to find the publications that you fit with. You have to find the programming where you fit in the grand scheme of things. So that totally makes sense. Take me to satellite media tours, because I think a lot of our audience members don't know what that is, and that's something that they might want to shoot for in the future. So just tell us how you got into that and what exactly that entails.
Sure. So a satellite media tour is basically where you take a segment that you would do a standalone segment on one TV show with whatever theme, and you do it in a studio and you go via satellite to stations all over the country. So typically you would bang out about 30 back-to-back interviews in a row where you're going via satellite. That is not something you do independently. Of course, you definitely work with the company that does the audio and all of that. And a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of experts, it's a very specific type of work. It it's grueling. It doesn't seem like it, but it's very hard, where you have those talking points in your head and you need to memorize them, because once you're on about segment 15, your brain starts turning to mush.
Sure.
And you forget every word that you've ever known. But at the same time, you need to come across, you need to perform. It needs to still seem natural, even though you've done so many in a row. So a lot of people don't like it. But for whatever reason, I just really felt like I thought I would do well with it. I'm very good at rattling off facts. I've always been good at memorizing information. So I thought it would be something I would thrive with. So I set that as a goal. And I literally just, with everything with my career, just started emailing all of the companies that do satellite media tours, sent them my reel and said, hey, I do lifestyle. I think that you should work with me, and continue to knock on those doors and send those emails until somebody said, okay, let's do it.
Right. And eventually someone's going to bite, right? And
Right,
now when you
right.
do those 30 interviews, is this all on the same subject matter, or are these totally different topics?
It is. So it is almost always, at least from a lifestyle expert. You also have, celebrities doing these, talking about whatever projects they have. But for me, who is a lifestyle expert, it's going to be beauty trends, or I just did a Father's Day gift guide. It's going to be a specific theme, and it's paid TV. So I'm the paid spokesperson, and brands pay to be a part of it. So I have calls ahead of time with those brands to talk about the product, talk about their preferred messaging, talk about how I can apply that to myself and make it feel very fun and editorial and not a commercial, because of course they want to add that lifestyle element into it. So that's the back side of it, is having those conversations with brands to get their messaging across, but also make it Emily still at the same time.
Right. And I love that you did this all on your own and there was no talent agent involved or manager involved. This was all you.
I have always questioned if that's the right way to go. I hear people say, oh, my manager got me XYZ. And I think, should I get a manager? That's a really great gig. Maybe I wouldn't be as stressed out. Maybe I'd have more time for anything else if I was not doing it all. But I'm the same way with cleaning my house. I always say, sure, I can hire somebody to clean my house, but I can do it myself. I have this thing, I'm kind of a workaholic, and I feel like, well, if I can do it, why am I having someone else do it? Once again, that's the way I do it. Lots of people say, no, you need to get help. You're going to burn yourself out. But for me, once again, I don't know if it
It's
was the right
working.
choice,
It's
but
working. And you
so
know
far,
what? Yeah, I say if it's working, stick with it. If you need a little help down the line, you can always find it because you have plenty of content to show for it. Here at Driven by Detours, we always talk about challenges and we always talk about how you overcame them. Being a mom, a working mom, were there any other challenges that you faced along the way? And obviously, going through the course of creating your own jobs, what are some of the challenges that you faced that you had to overcome to get where you are today?
I think, and it's often too easy of an answer, but being a mom, I have decided all along, my husband and I talked about it before we had kids, I have flexibility with my job. And we love that because that means my kids can still have a very active mom in their life. I don't have an office that I'm tied to 9 to 5. I can go to the school for all the things. I can be very present. But what that means is there is still opportunities that I am going to have to say no to. So I did feel at one point in my life, each time I had a new baby was basically, I felt like, okay, there's all these people that are able to travel. They're not having to say no right now because they've chosen to, stay with a baby. I nursed. I felt very locked into the babies for that reason. So I certainly feel like those were challenges. I was missing opportunities, but of course, in the long run, I know that I did the right thing. And I am thrilled that now we're to the point where my kids are older. It's a lot easier to dump them off at grandma's house and go out of town for a few days if I need to.
Yeah, definitely.
That was certainly something where I would question, like, okay, is this the right decision? Should I just get a full-time nanny and just go, go, go? Once again, I'm a workaholic. As a freelancer, you need to say yes to everything. So it's very hard for me sometimes to justify, was that no the right thing to do work-wise, career-wise?
Yeah, but I think for any working parent, you have to weigh a balanced life and career and your family. And I think that if you would have said yes to a lot of those opportunities, you would have been missing out at home, and that would have hurt your heart too. So
Of course.
I feel like there's really no right answer other than if it feels right at that moment, do it, and if it doesn't, don't do it. And that's been my golden rule since I had kids too. It's, you know what, I have a career, but I have a family too. If it feels right for my career at this moment, I'm going to take that leap. And if it doesn't feel right, you know what, something else is going to come along. So I always try to spread that message too. And I see that that works for you, because look at you now. I mean, you're super successful. You're happy. You have a well-balanced life with your kids. So bravo. Excellent job. We're running out of time. Is there any other tips or advice that you want to give our audience about just camera readiness or confidence, how to kind of overcome those nerves before they get on camera? Because that's always a biggie for them.
Sure. I am a huge practice out loud person, because it doesn't matter how much you practice in your head and you think you know what you're going to say. It's always different translating from your brain out of your mouth. So I am really big on standing in front of my mirror and talking and practicing, or if I'm driving somewhere, talking to myself in the car out loud as I drive to whatever booking that is going to be. I think there's just something about having it come off your tongue, hear how it sounds. And every time I do that, no matter how much I think I know all of my talking points and exactly what I'm going to say, as soon as it starts coming out of my mouth and I hear it, I always end up tweaking things.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to practice out loud ahead of time. And also, there's always those nerves. I don't think that's ever, there's still that moment. It doesn't matter how many times I've done a show, how well I know my talking points. There's that moment right before it goes live where you just feel like, a 5-year-old again on a giant stage. And you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to screw this up. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And I think for me, at least, that's good, because that gives me that adrenaline to kind of power through and do a good job. So I don't think our goal necessarily needs to be to never be nervous, because I think we can use those nerves, and it's just normal, especially with live TV, things that you can't get a second take on. I think it's normal to have that feeling of, oh man, what am I doing?
Yeah. And having that excitement or those nerves and turning it into excitement is always a key to having a successful segment, because you are excited and that passion comes out on camera and they can see it. And I always explain to my clients, it's like, okay, be you, but the best version of you. Be the most excited version of you. Be the most passionate version of you, because that translates and your audience is going to read it like that. So thank you so much for your tips, Emily. And anyone who wants to check Emily out on Instagram, I have her Instagram handle. It's Emily L. Foley. That's her Instagram handle. Check her out. And Emily, thank you again so much. We'll check in with you, hopefully, within a couple of months or weeks, and see how things are going on your end. And we really appreciate your tips and advice. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.